Good morning, guys, and welcome to the last day of April, Tuesday, April the 30th, 2024. I'm so excited for the new month because with everything new, we have a new chance, new opportunity, and just new all around. So today we are on day two of our weekend schedule. As you know, fun week all week long. So today I want to talk, it's Open Talk Bible Talk. Today I'm going to talk about why I do this. Why I do what I do as far as my group is concerned. I am the founder, the owner, the creator of Only Believe in One, both the YouTube channel, the website, and the Facebook group. Now, I started this group a year ago, or about a year and a half ago, but I had the dream, the vision, and the notion uh, probably 6 months prior to starting the group. Now, I didn't know when I first got the notion to do this group. When everything was first coming to me, I was doing the Facebook profile, which I first called Tabitha, and then I just recently uh, changed the name to Libby. Now, the way I came up with the name Tabitha was just an out of the blue, no particular reason. But then my husband recently told me, said, look, if you want the names to be associated with your main profile versus your Bible study, your Bible group profile, then you need to change the name so people can start to recognize you. So I said, okay, well, as a child growing up, I was called Libby, and Libby is a nickname for Olivia. So, as most of you already know on Facebook, my birth name is Olivia, and I was nicknamed and called my entire childhood. Nobody ever called me Olivia until I was actually grown, until I signed my first lease for my first apartment at 19 years old. So my entire childhood, as far back as I can remember, I was called Libby. So that's how I got the name. Now, the reason I do this, I get up every morning between 4 and 4:30 a.m. I come out here, I put on my pastor or one of the pastors I listen to. Now, as most of you already know, my pastor for right now is Jonathan Shuttlesworth. His pastor, who he is ordained under, is Rodney Howard Brown. Very shortly, I plan to be attending Rodney Howard Brown's Bible school, and I plan to be moving to Florida. With that being said, I will be attending Rodney Howard Brown's The Stand, which is his open church every night. Uh, I will be attending his Sunday services. I will be attending his school. So I plan on having two pastors at that point, whom will be Jonathan Shuttlesworth and who will be Rodney Howard Brown, and I will follow both. I will attend one in person, and I will watch the other via YouTube or his app or however I can. So now the reason have started these groups and have put so much into it, and the reason I get up in the morning and the reason I do what I do is because I am truly called by God. Now, the way people go, oh, well, how do you know you're called? Because this is a passion. It is a passion of mine to get the Lord's word out in this study, in this Bible group, on as many platforms as I can. So I actually do have a website I actually do use YouTube as a platform, and I use Facebook as a platform, but I also have my very own website. So if y'all go to your search engine on Google and type in Only Believe in One, then my personal website will pop up. If you go over to Facebook, I have a link on the profile that you can click on, and it will take you away from Facebook because it's not associated with Facebook. It is my own personal website, and it will take you over to that website. Now, that website, though we've had it for a year, um, I'm still constructing it. I'm still rearranging it. I'm not uh, I'm not a professional website builder, so I'm still playing with how to build it, how to set it up, and how to get on it what I want on it. So you can go over there and see many different things, many different. We have, oh, excuse me. We have the uh, couple of videos. We have workbook pages. We have prayers. We have lessons. There are all kinds of things over there for you to go and enjoy and to help you with your walk. Now, I do this daily. Like I said, I get up at between 4 and 4:30 a.m. in the morning, and I come out and I put on my pastor, or I put on one of the pastors I watch, which is Jonathan Shuttlesworth, Rodney Howard Brown, or Jesse Duplantis, or one of those three. And I'll either put on their Sunday service, or their weekday service, or their podcast. Just something inspirational in the morning to get me going, to get the spirit jumping, because my love for the Lord just is uh, so searching, so looking for that loud praise early in the morning, and that's just me. So, with that being said, I I love doing this. I love just doing these videos. I love putting lessons together. And I want you guys to know nothing I put in Only Believe in One, the Facebook group, or these videos, none of this stuff is copied and pasted except for the verses I get from the Bible. And I do copy and paste those to make sure that the information I give you from the Bible is absolutely correct. Now, the thought for the day is not copied and pasted. That is original thought, hand typed. The Bible lessons are original thought and hand typed every day, every morning, and every evening. Again, the only thing that I copy and paste is from the Bible. There's no, the workbooks are handmade, the lessons are handmade, and all of this I do to get out the word of the Lord because it is a passion. Now, how do you know you're called? Because not only is a passion, but it comes so very easily to me. So when God calls you to do something, He gives you the will, the pleasure, the knowledge, the ease to do it. I have never had difficulty doing any of these lessons. I've never had, it's never been something I didn't want to do. It is, it has never been something um, I never felt like I shouldn't be doing. It's never been something I felt like it's a waste of time, or I don't feel like doing this, or I don't feel like getting up in the morning. I mean, there's other things I do in the morning too, but this is the main thing. Everything else is secondary because getting out the word of the Lord, my God, look, I can't make you guys want to be saved. I can't make you guys not want to be lukewarm Christians. You either want it or you don't. When it comes to God, you're not half in. You're either all in or you're not in at all. And some of you, well, I'm a good person. Well, that's great. Go on and be a good person. Um, I'm going to run down the notes I made yesterday, and it is what it is. Okay. Why it says my Bible Talk Open Talk is why I do this daily. What I what I do for this ministry. Okay, here's what I do for this ministry. I I take notes the day before, like yesterday. I took these notes, I wrote them down because that part I don't want to be stuck doing first thing early in the morning. Because you know how it is when you wake up. When you wake up, you're groggy, your mind's not together, and you don't want to be stuck doing something where you might make a mistake. So I do the note taking part once I'm good and awake, and when I'm fully functioning and I know my mind is clear. And so I take these notes for the next day. That way I don't have to worry if my mind is thinking clearly or if I'm fully woke or you know, I absolutely know that my notes are fail safe. So then my second note is why I don't sin. I don't sin. I don't spend my day. I don't make room for my day to sin. My day is spent solely around the gospel. And don't get me wrong, I play Farmtown, I play Candy Crush, I work in this group, and I work a few other groups that my friend, I actually have a friend of mine who is in this group that made two other groups, and I help her run those groups, and she's phenomenal at what she does. She made these groups and she runs them. I'm just a sidebar helper. Um, and that's what I do in the morning. And then I come on over here and I do this. And I in between I don't have room for sinning and grinning, you know what I'm saying? So then my other notes are how do I know I called? Okay, I hit on that a little bit when I first opened this video. How do you know you're called to do something? Well, when you have an absolute passion, when you have an absolute can't think of anything else, must get up first thing in the morning, and this is what you're thinking on. And trust me, even though I don't rush right over to this group, this is what I think on. I go to bed thinking on this group and the Lord thy God. I wake up thinking on the Lord thy God. And in between this video and tomorrow's videos, I'm taking notes from this minute till I actually make tomorrow's notes. And that's what I'm doing. And then I'm sharing what I learned with you guys. And it really just it comes so easy. It's almost like second nature. It's so natural. It's just how I don't have time to sin. I don't make time to sin. I don't and if I accidentally find myself like sometimes it's an abomination sin unto the Lord to tell a lie. So every now and then I get caught up with my kids embellishing a goofy story, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, Lord, I may have crossed the line between telling a story and embellishing to actually lying. So it's like, at that point, I'll repent. Lord, if I've done something to offend you or said something to offend you, I'm sorry. It's not my intent, just hanging out being stupid with my kids, embellishing the story. But at that, I don't have time. I don't make time. I don't. If your feet are taking you to unholy ground, if your mouth is taking you to unholy ventures, then you're making time, you're making way for sin. And I just don't do that. I just don't, I'm called to be God's messenger, and with that I can't make way for sin. I can't make excuses for sin. I can't have a sinful nature and not be the example and not um I can't not be the example for you guys and then expect y'all to go forth and sin no more. See, had Jesus not healed people, had Jesus not uh, had he not made the way for people, then how could he tell people to go forth and sin no more? How do you heal somebody's eyes or heal somebody's deafness, heal somebody's blindness, heal somebody's leprosy, heal somebody's cancer, heal somebody's crippleness, and tell them to go forth and sin no more if you yourself are in sin? Jesus was not in sin. That's how he could do these things. And this is how he could command them to go forth and sin no more. He didn't say we weren't sinners, but what he said was to stop that. He said, sin no more. So he knew you were a sinner because we are born into sin. So, I mean, you can't help what you're born into, but you can help the choices you make when you come of age. You can help the things you do. You can help the places you go. You can help what you do in life. And I mean, you can absolutely have control over what goes on in your life from a child to your adulthood. You know, and a lot of people, well, I was just a child. I had no control. I'm here to let you know, maybe you didn't then, but you do now. And if I have any children that are listening to this, and again, I am on YouTube, so I want to make it very clear that these videos are not geared or made towards children. But if I do have children listening, I want you to know that you do have a voice. You do have power. You have empowerment. You have choices. If something that's going on in your life is sinful and you don't have the power to stop it, then you need to reach out to people that do have the power to stop it. Because you can go forth and sin no more. And if something's happening to you or being forced upon you, then that's not your sin. That's the sin of the person who's being the aggressor. But at the same time, I want you to know that you do have a choice. Okay, with that being said, now let's move forward to being assured, being absolutely assured. Because I've heard people, I don't know that I hear the voice of the Lord. You can know that God has you going a certain way when A, it's not a sinful nature in the way in which you are going. And when something comes absolutely so easily to you daily, these Bible lessons that I do are just, they've always come easy to me. Running this group comes so easy to me. Doing these lessons, doing these videos, doing the things that I do, it's like first nature. It's like it comes as easy to me as breathing does. And I absolutely love doing it. Now, why do I hide my camera? Why do I hide my face? I'm not really hiding my face, but if you want to see what I look like, look me up on YouTube or look me up on Facebook. Go over to Libby Waldmann, WALDMANN is the last name, LIBBY is the first name. You will see the same logo on Facebook, the Only Believe in One, that you see on YouTube. So if you're looking me up from YouTube, that's how you can find me on Facebook. If you want to see what I look like, I am going to be 52 this May. So I am not hiding my face because I don't want you to know or I'm scared or whatever. I hide my face during these Bible lessons because it's not about who I am or what I'm doing or how I look in these videos. It's about the lesson that I'm doing. It's about the lesson I'm getting across. It's about what I'm teaching that is important and not about my camera angle or what my hair looks like or what my face looks like or what's going on in my background. It has nothing to do with that. So that's why I cover the camera angle. And that's why I do voice only lessons. Now, another thing is the reason I do still backgrounds and I don't do changing backgrounds is so if you're listening to this, you don't have to just watch. You don't have to just sit at your computer or your phone and watch. A lot of people listen to these videos while they're making lunches for their kids to go to school or while they're doing laundry or while they're making their dinner for the evening or whatever. So you know you're not missing anything by just not watching. All you need is to hear, because faith come by hearing and hearing by the word of the Lord. So, you know, Jesus, when he was teaching in the groups, he wasn't waving his arms, jumping up and down, doing crazy stuff. He wasn't twirling batons. He was sitting, and the people, he spoke, and the people listened, you know. So it's not about you needing to see me, it's about you needing to hear the word of the Lord. So that's why I do that the way I do it. So today I'm just talking about why I do what I do and why I do things how I do. So a little bit of my own testimony is I was born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I was raised in New Orleans, and I was raised in and out of foster care. I do not know my birth parents. I don't know the whole story behind what went on with my birth parents. I was raised by the state of Louisiana, and I was in a foster home at one point, and then I was back in the foster care system because that family decided they didn't want me for whatever reason. And so I grew up in group homes, in and out of foster care, in and out of group homes. Um, by the time I was on the scene, they no longer called them orphanages; they were called group homes, and that's where I grew up. Now, the day I turned 18, I was handed a happy birthday card. The woman, the staff member, I remember she tried to tell me something. This was years ago. I don't remember exactly what all she was telling me, but basically, I remember I was handed a happy birthday, you're 18 now, uh, birthday card with $10 in it, and a goodbye, and a adios. So I went from the group home to the homeless shelter across the street. And so where I was living in New Orleans or in Louisiana at the time, on one side of the street there was our group home, and on the other side of the street there was a homeless shelter. So basically, that's what I did. I packed my little ditty bag, which being a ward of the state, you don't have much. You have some clothes, some shoes, and that's about it. And I packed it up and I went across the street, and I was like, okay, I just left from over there. Now I'm over here. Now what? You know? And so that was the beginning of my life. And, you know, I didn't know anything. Actually didn't know you had to pay a light bill. Didn't know how to cook. I just assumed when you flipped the switch, the lights came on. I had no knowledge of a light bill, water bill, gas bill. And so, I mean, the state does not prepare you for these things. All of this I had to learn as I got my first apartment years later. But as I learned these things, I made it a point as I started my own family and my own adventures in life to I first A homeschooled my kids, and then B taught them all the things they needed to know. And then it turns out they don't even need to know half of it today, because my baby boy is gonna be 20 this year, and actually this month of May, me and him share the same birth month. And then my oldest daughter is 32. She's going to be 33 this year. So, or she's going to be 32 this year. She's 31. Um, but a lot of things I taught them, thinking they would need to know, like how to balance a checkbook. It's ironic because nobody uses checks anymore. Everybody is on some kind of credit card, cash app, or whatever. So, but I did decide to homeschool the kids because, and I thought, wow, dude, man, I thought public school was crazy when they were kids. Now it's not. It's gone from being crazy to outright sinful. With with drama queens and everything else that's going on in the public libraries and the public schools. I wouldn't set my dog in obedience school, let alone a child. But that's a whole nother story. Um, I just want to say that being raised by the state and not being raised in a family, it took a toll on my life. I did spend a few years depressed. I spent a few years with a lot of anxiety. I spent a few years so unsure and living with rejection and living with just outright craziness. Uh, I did for a while, uh, very unassured, very unmotivated, very uh just odd things. And then, and I was never a criminal, so I don't want to give off I was never a drug addict. I've never been an addict. I've never been. The only thing I was ever addicted to were legal substances, which was nicotine cigarettes. I smoked for like 32 years of my life, and I was addicted to caffeine. And I drank. I don't. I don't know if they call them in your neck of the woods. Where I'm from in New Orleans, we call them cold drinks. Here in Missouri, where I'm at now, they call them soda. Some places in Texas, they call them soda water. So whatever you call a Pepsi, Coke, Dr. Pepper, whatever you call those things in your neck of the woods, that's what I used to drink. My favorite, oh my gosh, my all-time favorite drink of all times. I went to Arkansas with a friend of mine, and I learned that you could put chocolate syrup, like you put in milk. If you put just a little bit in a Coke or a cherry Coke, oh man, chocolate Coke, that was the thing. Now, I was already a big girl. So I was over 200 pounds. I was like 222 or something to that effect the last time I weighed. So I couldn't drink it like I wanted to, but man, I'm telling you, cherry Coke with just a little bit of chocolate syrup in it. That is the bomb diggy smog, man, as far as drinks go. Now, later in life, I did after last about 8 years ago. I decided to go on a weight loss adventure because I had gotten to the point where my back hurt so bad I would be standing in the middle of the grocery store and I'd have to sit down on the floor in the middle of the grocery store and I'd start crying because my back would hurt so bad. Well, at that point, I had weighed myself probably a week prior and found out I was 222, 23 pounds. I couldn't do it anymore. I just could not, absolutely couldn't do it anymore. Well, my husband comes to me and goes, "We're going to quit smoking." I'm like, "Oh, that's great." Yay. So we go and we get the whole 9 yards of vaping products, and we get the syrup with the nicotine and stuff in it, and I couldn't do it. I just to vape and not smoke, it irritated me. It just it wasn't the same. It didn't feel the same. It didn't taste the same. It wasn't the same. And so I felt bad because my husband had spent like 100 and some odd dollars the day before on getting all kinds of the vape machine. It was a little vape box and little extended pieces and all this other stuff. And I told him, I got up that morning, our first morning of non cigarettes, and I tried to vape, and it irritated me to no end because it didn't feel the same, it didn't do the same for me, and it wasn't, it wasn't what I was used to. It wasn't an early morning cigarette. And so I just couldn't do it. So when he got up, I handed him the vape stuff, and I said, look, I'm sorry, but I cannot do this. If I'm not going to smoke, I don't want this either. Because here's the thing, why do I want to give up the cigarettes, which was basically giving up the nicotine, which you're addicted to go from that to vaping this vape box, which is nicotine, which I'm really not quitting anything. I'm not, if I'm going from one form of nicotine to another form of nicotine. And so it really just, it, it, it didn't make sense to me. If I'm going to quit, let's just quit. I'm just going to quit. So basically, I gave him the vape stuff and said, I'm just done. I'm done. So I quit smoking cold turkey. This was like probably 10 years ago at this point. So I've been nicotine and somewhat caffeine free. Now, caffeine I gave up at the same time because I decided if I'm going to quit smoking, I'm not going to turn to food, candy, and other things because I already knew I was overweight. And I'm like, okay. I did a little research and I'm like, I'm not going to gain weight to lose cigarettes. And so I made a conscious choice to give up the cigarettes as well as go on a weight loss adventure. And so I did. I lost well over 100 pounds and I got down to 120. Now, today, after Rovid hit, then I ended up gaining some weight back because I wasn't going out walking around the neighborhood, walking around the park, doing the exercises I was doing before you had to mask up and wask up. So it was like, okay, um, I was sitting at home on my bum doing not the activity that I used to. So today I weigh in at 154. So I went from 120 to 150 I went from the 120s to the 150, so I gained about 30 pounds back, but I am still way down considerably from what I was. So now I'm on a weight loss, a small weight loss adventure today to lose between 15 and 20 pounds between now and my birthday. So hopefully by my birthday, which is in 26 days, I will be in the 140s. I'm hoping to be around, right now I am 154. And I'm hoping by my birthday to be 140. So I don't need to look anorexic. I'm not trying to be a swimsuit model. I just want to not be unhealthy and not be in a position where my back hurts because I'm overweight. So when I go on weight loss endeavors, I don't do it to impress other people or this is something I want to share with you guys. When you do something, do it for yourself or do it unto the Lord. Because I can tell you right now, if you do something unto man, man will criticize you and down you every single time. People sit back and wait for your failure. People sit back and nitpick your successes until they find failure within it. So if I was doing this group and I was doing it for people, I'm quite sure they would sit back and critique and whatever. I don't care. When I do this group, when I give my testimony and when I tell you what I'm doing, it's because where the Lord has brought me from and where He's brought me to and where He's bringing me from where I'm at right now to where I'm going. And right now, I'm in the process of strongly, strongly, strongly believing that I am going to be moving on faith. My family and I are believing for a financial breakthrough and a financial blessed move from where we are to the state of Florida so we can go to Bible school and so that we can do and go where the Lord tells us to go and do what the Lord tells us to do. And so a lot of what I have going on is very public, and then some of it is very private. But the weight loss adventure has always been wrapped up in two things. The weight loss adventure is wrapped up in, I want to do this for me, but I also want to do this for the Lord. Because the way you look, the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, act, and all these other things, you are a reflection of your Father, Jesus Christ. And so I'm not talking bad about anybody that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 600 pounds. But here's the thing: gluttony is a sin, selfishness is a sin, lack of self control is a sin. So if you are 2, 3, 4, 5, 600 pounds, that means you don't deny yourself anything, and everything you indulge into the flesh. So if you're indulging everything into the flesh, then you're not really doing anything into the Lord. And your body speaks loudly of these things. Your body speaks extremely loudly of these things when you are very overweight. It speaks loudly to selfishness, to greed, to gluttony, to self-centeredness, and it does not speak of anything unto the Lord. So bringing your flesh into submission and denying yourself a pack of Oreos, that is glorifying and glory unto the Lord. So I have decided to keep myself, and not only that, I've decided to keep myself physically mobile and physically well with the help of the Lord, so that I can go where my Father says go and do what my Father says do and say what my Father says to say. Because here's the thing: if you're overweight, you don't get around very well. So if the Lord tells me to up and move to Florida and it's time to start packing, I want to be physically able to start packing. I don't want to be sitting around hurting and smarting. So, gluttony reflects a lot about you and none about the Lord. All right, so wrapping that up about myself and why I do that, my testimony. I'm going to slide right on into today's wisdom verse, and today's wisdom verse is Galatians 3:14. Above all, clothe yourself with love, which binds us all together in perfect harmony. So, Galatians 3:14. Above all, clothe yourself in love, which binds us all together in perfect harmony. All right, guys. Now, again, tomorrow is the 1st, and that's why we're doing the fun week. Week schedule is because when we have a new month coming in and it starts in the middle of a week, I like to start my months off right because of the way I do my lesson plans. My lesson plan books are from the first day to the 31st day. And so, in order to start a new book and start a new lesson, I like to do it from day one and not in the middle of the month. So that's why we have 1 week a month where we just do a complete weekend schedule and a fun week, and that's when we make all the changes that we're going to make for that new month. So in April, we switched from the morning to the evening lessons. So we were, for the winter and the school schedule, we were doing just a morning schedule. But in the summertime, we do a morning, evening Bible study because more people are at home and you need more things to be done with the children. So, again, the lesson plans that are in the Bible study on Facebook are done. They are my personal lesson plans, the workbooks, the whole nine. All that stuff you see in there, with the exception of the Bible scriptures and the Bible chapter verses. Anything I get from the Bible, I do copy and paste. The rest of it is absolutely hand typed, personally thought out, and it's not copyrighted. So you do have my permission to print it out, copy and paste it, share it, use it, go forth and learn with it, and teach from it. All right, guys, I love you with the love of the Lord, and I will see you tomorrow. Happy Tuesday, last day of April. Today is Tuesday, April the 30th, and 2024. So, again, love you with the love of the Lord, and I will see you tomorrow on May the 1st. Have a great day, guys.